You can see this in the truck. We'll do the unpack and review here, which you'll see in a few seconds. Just so you know, I've gotten this at Lowe's in Portland, Oregon. You may see an Amazon link to another seller or something like that. I do actually purchase these on my own. It's not been, let's say, contributed for the purpose of doing a review. And I will thank Lowe's at this time for doing the veteran discounts without requiring that you be disabled, which has been a situation with several of the Home Depot stores. Although sometimes at certain levels those are discretionary, Lowe's does not require you to be a disabled veteran to receive the discount using your VA ID card. Here we have the Dewalt DC580 Cordless Portable Wet Vac. Okay, well, this is kind of a specific tool for the tool snobs out there and the handyman, especially if you're a handyman and you kind of work in better neighborhoods around higher end houses and more valuable stuff. There's going to be more of an expectation that you clean up after yourself when you're working in the house. And I found it was a difference between being told not to come back in a job versus, hey, here's a good guy. I was actually working in a mansion owned by a relatively paranoid Russian family, where one of the things they would do is they would all leave when workers come in to work on a place, and then they watch us over internet cameras. And I was told that I was the only guy who was really making a point to vacuum up and clean up after myself as I was installing door locks and stuff like that. You know, drilling holes, working around the drywall, working around the wood. I would carry a little vacuum around and clean up after myself. The other thing that happened is I worked on a contract basis for a company installing televisions on walls. And in that, there's a small amount of drywall dust that'll get around, and we want to clean that up. There's a liability problem in that when I have to move furniture to get at a power cord to be able to plug in other types of tools, there's always a risk of damage. Okay, there's always a risk of maybe scratching some flooring or knocking something off, or their pet animal comes over and runs around and grabs a cord and knocks something over. I'm going to reduce those risks when I use cordless tools. So I really try to focus on using cordless tools with quick in and out handyman type jobs. Cordless tools are not cost effective when it comes to getting the job done versus what it costs to get the job done, because you have to spend a lot of money on the batteries. This is no exception. Because this tool is a battery only model, you got to have batteries to go with it. Now here's a little bit of good news with this, is that it will take the newer style lithium ion 20 volt batteries from Dewalt, and it will take the older style XR and XRP batteries through this little mechanism right here. The 20 volt batteries are going to give it slightly more power and performance, and this is one of the 4 amp hour batteries that I bought to go with this nail gun. Normally I probably would not have started the transition over to 20 volt power tools, except that there are some newer DeWalt tools that they will only do in a 20 volt version. To complicate that matter, there's other DeWalt tools which currently are still only made in the 18 volt version, and you can't totally go one or the other as your battery system yet. Although they are relatively rapidly going over to the 20 volt system. So, you know, if you're partway through the transition process, it's safe to buy this vacuum cleaner and you're going to be just fine. Just like the older model, it has kind of a quick detach system here where it can work as a vacuum or it can work as a blower. So you could use this, for example, to inflate inflatable stuff, or you could use it, let's say, to blow water out of something, to dry something else quickly. The onboard little nozzle head storage is a little bit better than the older model, in that these things seem to me like it's going to stay on a little more securely. For example, in my older model, I had lost the little wide mouth thing. This one comes in here, You know, maybe that falls out, but I kind of like the way that clicks in and stays there. The way this goes on, relatively secure, although I could see maybe, you know, that's going to fall off from time to time. Now this is a cordless only model, which means there's no power cord, there's no way to get power to it unless you have a battery in it, and that's something to be aware of. What I like on that is it's a faster cleanup time. I don't have to worry about that cord dangling or falling or snagging on something, knocking over somebody's lamp or vase, and creating a liability for me. I don't carry high levels of insurance with the work that I do, and so it's very important to me to mitigate the risks associated with power cords or any other kind of a safety situation that could arise when working in other people's homes, because there's liability involved with that, obviously, right? So in tools that are cordless, there's that factor. The other factor is people do judge you by your tools, and everybody knows Dewalt's a good name brand, and it's a respected name brand. Can you do this job with a less expensive tool? Obviously you could. But you've also got that situation where it's usually going to be a plug-in tool. We're adding time on site, which I'd like to avoid. I'd like to be able to be in a position of clearing a service call faster by reducing the setup and cleanup time. That can be accomplished with this sort of a tool. Especially, for example, using the 20-volt nail gun, which doesn't require a separate air compressor. We can have very rapid setup and cleanup time because I'll leave it loaded with nails. I go in, I'm good to go. One thing to understand about the corded model on this is it will not charge your batteries. This is considered an add-on tool to the Dewalt system, so there is no kit that would have, let's say, a carry bag and a battery charger for this. You pretty much have to have some other Dewalt tools in order for this to be useful to you. Quality is, of course, on par with everything that you would expect from Dewalt. Power, you know, it's hard to tell by noise, but, you know, we've got decent power. I mean, it's going to clean stuff up here. I mean, it is what it is. People criticize some of my videos because I don't run the tools. Well, you know, it is what it is. It's a vacuum cleaner, and it will also ask as a blower by simply pulling the nozzle off here, putting it on here, and it's a little twist lock mechanism. So then you've got a blower. And you could use this to inflate some items like maybe rubber boats and air mattresses. But there is no narrower nozzle adapter for that, so if you're inflating smaller, high pressure, things that have to go through a smaller nozzle that are high pressure, you might have to improvise something, but also realize this thing's basically a blower motor. It's not a true pump. The filters on this appear to be a little bit different from the older model, and are expensive, so watch out for that. The other thing I've noticed is there is no paper or foam pre-filter on this, and the filter can come untwisted inside of here because it is a twist fit type filter. So what it is it's just kind of a pin, sorry about that, a pin twist lock. You see how that works? And this stuff is kind of, that's just like if the thing's tilted too far, it'll pop over there. That's to keep water from getting up into the fan mechanism. And I believe you could remove that if it really irritates you, but then you run the risk of getting water up into your fan mechanism. So this filter looks a little bit smaller than the one used in previous models. Little twist lock mechanism in there. And they say this one's a 2-gallon vacuum. It just seems like the reservoir is a little bit smaller than the older model, but that's not bad. You know, it's not a bad situation. Do I recommend this tool? Yes, I do, especially if you're still in a transition phase between the 18-volt and the 20-volt batteries, but it's for that very specific thing, for the on-call handyman type thing where you want the appearance in a more professional grade looking service that you provide in cleaning up after yourself when you're working in somebody else's home. Yeah, it's covered under the normal Dewalt warranty and available at every major tool retailer that has Dewalt product for sale.